Okay, now what I'm working on now is I want to make, I guess a primitive candle box. So I came out to the garage and I found a 1x2 piece of board. It's a scrap board that my husband had given me. And I cut 2 pieces at 12 inches and then 2 pieces at 5 inches. And I put the 12-inch pieces on the outside. And now I'm going to take my wood glue and I'm going to glue them together, and then I'll take my brad nailer, which is down underneath there, and I'll put some brad nails in it, and then I'll take it in and start on it. Well, I have it nailed together and glued, and I decided it needed a little more sturdy base in case, you know, when you want to set it up, it's not easy to tip. So I found a piece of scrap wood that I had, and I'm going to figure out what measurements I want, and I'm going to attach the bottom of this to this, and I'll let you know the measurements on that when I get it figured out. Okay, the size that I cut this was 2 1/4 this way and 7 this way, and now I'm going to glue that and nail it onto there. That way this will be sturdier. Well, I have this all put together, and before I start working on it, I wanted to figure out something for the back end, for back here, to close it in. And first off, I went and got just some cardboard from a cereal packet, and I was going to put that, you know, cut that and put it on there. And I thought, well, I have thin wood, so I'll go ahead and cut me a piece of that. So I got me some wood, and I just laid the whole piece, I think it was a 12x12 on there, and just traced around it on the inside. And then I knew I had to come out to the side to be able to have enough space to glue it on back here. So I just took it out to my scroll saw and went to the side about, a little over 1/4 inch, maybe 1/4 inch, and cut it out, and it will work. That will be easy. Now I needed something to cover it with, so I got to looking around in my room, and I had this what is this, decoupage paper, the tissue, and I thought, well, that would be cute. Then I got to thinking, well, it'd be cuter, I think, if I had something like punch tin. And I thought I had one of those baking sheets or cookie sheets from the Dollar Tree, the little aluminum cheap ones, and I've evidently used them up because I didn't have one, because I thought that would look cute to take, you know, it's kind of, those got the little ridges in it, and flatten it out, and then maybe take something and do a little punch, like punch tin on it. Well, I didn't have one of those. That had taken a long time anyway. So I decided not to do that, and I'm still thinking I'm going to do this. Then I got to thinking, well, maybe somewhere on Etsy they have punch tin digital paper, or, you know, digital downloads. Well, they had this, and it was actually, they had 5 different patterns, and I liked this one. And it was this here, but it came in like a 12x12. It was really, no, it was bigger than that. And it took it into my Silhouette software, and I resized it down to a 5.5 by 5.5, I believe. And then I copied it and pasted it. Of course, one piece is not going to cover that. So I copied and pasted it, and then brought that one piece down just to match in with that. Well, that's still not long enough. So I just printed out another piece so I can do this. You know, I'll cut the white off, and I'll do that on the bottom, and it'll look like punch tin. And then I'll take my wood here, and I will decoupage it on. And I am going to do the Mod Podge, let it dry, and then I'll cut these to what they're supposed to, the size they're supposed to be, and I will iron this on. So, because I don't want any wrinkles in this, so I'm going to have it, try to have it make it look like it's punch tin, and I'll put it on the back on this, and then my candle will go in there. But I've got this ready. I know what I'm doing. I figured it out. that takes a while to look around and find this stuff and figure out how I'm going to do it, change my mind. But I'm going to move on because this is the way I'm going to do it. And now I'm going to put this aside right now, and I'm going to start painting this. All right, I am giving this a coat of black, just straight black paint. I'll probably have to give it 2 coats. I'll paint the whole thing black, and then I'll come back when it's dry and I'll just stress it on the edges and stuff. And I wanted to let y'all know that I did give the paper that I printed out with my inkjet, I did cover it with hairspray so it wouldn't smear when I put a top coat of Mod Podge on it. Now, while my black is drying, I gave it 2 coats, and I am going to get this ready so when I need it, I'll have it. And I'm just going to actually go just a little past the pencil mark, because if I go any further out to the edge, my paper doesn't cover the whole thing. But it will be enough to cover on the inside of the box. I'm just going to put a layer of this on there, and I'm going to let it dry, and then I'll come back and we'll iron that on and piece that one piece together. All right, my Mod Podge is dry, and now I just left this because I want to be able to match this. I'm going to put my paper right there, and I'm going to iron this down on there. And once I get this ironed on, then I'll add that other piece down at the bottom. Okay, now I'll pull this up. I am going to put this down here. It goes this way. Okay, I'm going to put make sure I got it. That's good enough. That is going to be on the bottom. And now I'll iron this on there. And the overlap on the bottom, or the overhang, I'll just sand it off. Make sure get on the seam. It fell down just a smidget, but that's okay. It'll be on the bottom. Then I'll just take my finger sander and sand this part off, but it's noisy. But that's what I'm going to do, and that I'll I'll put a coat of Mod Podge over the top of this and let this be drying, and then I'm sure, yeah, this piece is, well, still feels a little cool, little damp, but as soon as it's ready, I'm going to sand the edges on it and distress it. All right, now I have taken this out to the garage, and I used my sander to distress it, as it went much faster than using the finger sander. And I'm giving a coat of the Jolie brown wax. I'm going to put it on all over, and then I'll wipe it back some. It gives my black kind of a rich texture, rich look, and turns the natural wood a little darker and makes it look distressed. Then after I finish this, I will take this piece that I just done, and I'll take it out to the garage, use some wood glue and my brad nailer, and put that on the back. And then I'll find the candle I'm going to use and see how we're going to do that. Get it in there and what I'm going to do to it. Now, I am trying to figure out a candle holder because I'm out of candle cups. So what I think, I'm going to take, this is a piece of cardboard. I'm going to glue that down on there. It'll hold the candle, but to set it off just a little bit, this is some wire that I wrapped around a dowel rod to make some candle holders before. I've used them in a lot of projects. Here's one shaped like an old bed spring that I done with wire. But I got out some that I already had made and was working with this. And I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to paint this black and glue it down on there, and then glue the wire down on there. And here's a candle that I have. I got these off Amazon. They were 6 in a pack for $18.99, so it'd be $19. And they have remote controls, 2 remote controls. But there it is, lit up. But I'll never use 6 all in one spot anyway, so I'm going to put one in this. And if I want to just turn it on, I'll just use the button down underneath here. I'll link these candles below. I think they're really nice. Now, this was more of a cream color, and I did take some Mod Podge with some coffee, instant coffee, a little bit of instant coffee in it, and painted over the candle just to give it a little darker color. And you can see, let me turn this off. Okay, see if you can see down in there. That's the color it was. And then with the coffee, the instant coffee and the Mod Podge, it's that color now. And I just did one coat and let it dry. All right, I'm going to finish working on this to get me a candle holder. And I don't know what else I'll do with it. And I did get, if I'd had an old belt or some leather, I would have made a handle, started down here and just looped it up there and used that for a handle. But I don't have any, so I went in my junk that I have in there, and I had one of these still left. So I've put it on there, and I'm going to have to cover the screws with some black paint, but that's what I did for the top. And now I'm going to finish working on my candle holder. Okay, somewhere along the way, I've lost some footage, so I'm going to tell you here what I'm doing is I am taking my freezer paper and I'm ironing some muslin on it, and then I'm going to send it through my printer and print the image on it. Now, I have it cut out, and I have the shiny side down on my material because this is a side that will stick to the material. If you try to do it on the dull side, it won't work. So now I am going to iron this on, making sure the edges are down really well. And I do use this freezer paper at least 2 times doing this. Maybe 3, but I don't know, sometimes I do, but I'm worried when I do it. So I think 2's enough. Okay, now I'm going to turn it over. Make sure my edges are down really well. And then I'm going to trim any ravelings or anything like that. Okay, there's just a little one right there. And that looks good. Now I'm going to feed it through my printer and print off my image. I have it printed, and this is what I was printing out. And I'm going to use this hanger that I got at the thrift store. I got 3 of them. I don't remember how much. It wasn't very much. But I am going to hang this off of there. But I am going to trim around this print. Well, after I pull it off the paper, I'll run my paper and I can use this one more time. Well, somewhere it'll come off. There, I'll set that aside and put it back. Oh, I'll just put it back in that because I'll reuse it one more time. And I'm going to trim around this, and this will be, I think I'll be hanging it this way. I'm going to have to take that old tag off. I can't tell. It looks like it said 38 cents. But I'm going to put that up in there like that. I will leave the long part on there to give me something to glue down, so it doesn't come, part of the picture is not up in there. Now I am going to paint this hanger. I wasn't going to, but I've decided it needs it, and I'm going to use this Folk Art Mossy Meadow. I just got this the other day at Walmart. I was still looking for greens. And my Walmart has very, very few. I need to make a trip to Hobby Lobby. But I have to have a day that I can go there. Because it's a trip. It's a 2-hour trip there. So that's 4 hours there and back. So it's an all-day thing for me. I'm going to see how this looks on there with the... It's a lot like the the Waverly Moss color. I don't think I'll go around the edges, just the top of it. Let's see. And then I'll let it dry. And if it needs a second coat, I'll give it a second coat. But I'm going to let this dry before I try putting the printed muslin piece out in it. Now I'm taking my Distress ink and I'm just going to go around the edges of the material here. Okay, and then I'm going to show you what else I'm going to do so you don't have to wait on me to go all the way around that. I'm just going to go around this one also, or the hanger. I'll finish both of these up and then probably be ready to glue that in here. And now I'm just going to hot glue this on the material onto the hanger. I'm not going to go down there. It's dipped. Wouldn't do any good. Well, I might kind of shove it in the middle. All right, I want to get this on there even. Now, I'm hoping it is. Let me see. Oh, my hanger's wanting to go down. I think I need to put a little something in there to make that tight. It's old and it's not tight anymore. I might get a strip of something, maybe a piece of felt, and put in there. Well, I did put some felt in there. I think it could use a little more to tighten it up, but I'm going to leave it right now. And I think it needs, it really is so plain. If I knew what to put right in here, I'd put something in there, but I don't know what it would be. Let us give thanks. And I am going to do a messy bow. And I'm going to try to pull out some of these colors. But I'm going to have to go take some muslin, I think, and I'm going to try to dye me some muslin, this kind of, well, kind of like this green here. Just plain muslin. I'll put some water in a bowl and squirt some of this paint down in it and mix it up, and then put the muslin in it, and it should give it a tint of that. Alright, I have it finished, but I think I'm going to glue this. It's awful loose and it's wanting to turn, and when it does, it makes it look crooked. So I'm going to open it up and just glue this down so where it doesn't do that. And here is the muslin that I dyed the green. I could have used a little more paint and made it just a little more darker, but all in all, it looks all right. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and until the next one, we'll see you later.